What's up, everybody? It is Saint Aria here. I am doing a solo breakdown from my band Resisting Vegas's lead single, Malevolent, off of our second album, Malevolent. It's the title track. It's a big one. It's a fun one. It's a really cool song and an even cooler solo. That's right. The solo is actually cooler than the song itself, in my opinion. But anyway, so we're just going to be breaking it down, taking a look at it. Yeah, it's a sick solo. So let's listen to it. There's a lot to this solo, so we're going to break it down section by section. So let's just stop right there. Okay, so that's a whole lot right out the gate. So I actually had a hell of a time trying to write this solo. I probably redid it 4 or 5 times, rewrote it because I just couldn't figure out what to do. The demo originally had me, I think I started off doing something low and moving up higher. Something along that lines. I'm just, something along that where it actually starts to build up. But it just never seemed to work for me. I couldn't get the pacing right for the whole thing. Because it's like, okay, I just spent all this time building up, and then what? I just have to come straight back down because, spoiler alert, but there's the second half of this solo is a very unique section, a very climactic section. And so I wanted to make sure I was getting back to that section properly, which really was the challenge. So anyway, I was working on this solo, and I was getting very frustrated. I was throwing every technique I knew at the wall. I mean, I was busting out finger picking and triplets and melodies, harmonies, all this stuff. And finally, I just remember one night I was getting very frustrated. I was getting really irritated. So I was like, okay, you know what? Let's go back to basics. Let's go back to like just raw guitar playing that I actually think is cool. Like, what did I think was cool when I first started playing guitar? And so I went back to, what is probably one of, if not my favorite guitar solos of all time, which is the Afterlife guitar solo by Avenged Sevenfold, which, that first section, it starts off like that. And so I said, cool, that was awesome. I remember the first time I heard it, it blew my mind. Let's just dive right in. So I remember playing it and, adjusting for the key of the song. I press play, record, and just started doing that. And I was like, yo, that is awesome. Like just coming out swinging right when the solo starts, like within the first second, I've already hit, like 30 notes. It's insane. And I was like, if this is going to be the lead single on the album, it's going to probably be the lead single that we released, the first single that we released. I knew that it had to just be an awesome solo. And what better way to start it than just come out swinging? So yeah, check it out. Let's listen to that one more time. So yeah, once I knew that was what I wanted to do, I just had to put that together. So here's that part slowly. Awesome. I love that. Just super in your face shredding. So now there isn't a lot of time in this solo. It's a very quick solo. So I knew this next section, so that's the first quarter of the solo, what I just played. But the second quarter, I knew it was going to give me the opportunity to be a little bit more melodic because I wanted the third and the fourth quarters to just be, more absolute off the wall shredding. So this little section here actually sounds like, so that melody, to me that always sounded something like Nightmare Before Christmas. It's not like super dark or scary, but it does have this sort of twisted sound to it, especially that I played it slowly, but if you play it fast, so you actually, by hitting that harmonic there, you spike the pitch of the string up so it's vibrating at a high frequency, but then by sliding into that next note, I think it was always really interesting because even though I'm sliding up, the pitch actually comes down because of that harmonic that I hit. So it gives it this interesting sound. So that's just guitar nerd stuff. But yeah, I always thought that was super cool. So yeah, just a little melodic section there in between a super shreddy section and then an even more shreddy section. So this third quarter of the solo, it's the climax. I mean, I typically like the solos to follow the hero's journey type of story. Solos are a story, songs are a story. So you want your climax to be about in the third quarter. And so this section here is absolutely killer. I was having a lot of trouble writing this solo until I came up with that first part after being inspired by Afterlife. And so then this part here just came very naturally. I knew that, if the first shreddy section is like a flurry of notes all around the same pitch, I knew that I wanted this one to be a little more fluid and to have, some rhythm and melody to it. And that's a big thing to me is like, if you're going to do a shred section in a song, it shouldn't sound like you're practicing. It shouldn't sound like a practice session. It should actually have some musical quality to it. So I really hate listening to solos that are like, it's like, okay, you're just practicing. You're doing exercises. It never made sense to me. I just don't like solos like that, or I don't like shred sections like that. So yeah, let's just listen to this, because this is, and I will say this is probably one of the solo sections I'm the most proud of. I worked extremely hard on this, and it's a absolute, pain in the butt to play. But let's just listen to it real quick. Okay, so there you go. So whole lot going on there. Absolutely crushing shredding. And I'm not just trying to toot my own horn here. It really is a extremely difficult part. And I think it's one of the things that I'm the most proud of, but also one of the most difficult things to play. So let's break it down real quick slowly. So it's all sextuplet. So da 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 da. So that's the first bit. So yeah, there you go. So one of the things that I really like about this, and I was talking about this earlier, is that there is actually melodic and rhythmic quality to it. So you can actually follow along with the high notes. So even though it's all very consistent sextuplets, you can follow along and sing that melody, so listen to it like that, let me play it again real quick. Here. So it's very fast. It's almost like liquid, like how fast it ends up being, but there's flow to it, and that's what I like in my shred section. So it's absolutely insane shred section. It is definitely a huge pain to play, but yeah, you can hear. And then so after that flowing section, it goes up to a. So that's just building the tension again, going back to those high notes faster and faster, and then it finally climaxes sort of in this with that high note, and then we have a transition into the true climax of the song. And actually there's a little four beat transition here. I really like this. So hold on. So real quick before we get to the next section, that's a 4-beat, added 4 beats on top of the rest of the solo. So I always thought that's I like stuff like that where there's these little extra things thrown in, but you almost can't even tell that they're there. They're seamless. And so the average listener wouldn't be able to tell you, oh yeah, there was an extra measure there added in for a transition, but it sounds good. It's musically pleasing to the ear. So all I'm doing there is just some basic, just some crap like that just to fill the space out. So yeah, and then we come into this section, which I absolutely love. Okay, so let's break that down real quick. So I had that written. I knew that I had the rhythm part written, and I think I even had the choir part that, I just thought that was so cool, and I knew that I wanted that to be just an absolutely sick guitar part, but I wasn't sure what I wanted it to be. And so I had that sitting on the back burner for a little while, and then there was one day, I'd been watching a bunch of horror movies, and there was one day at work where I was listening to the demo and I was thinking about it, and I got this idea in my head. I got the melody, and it essentially stemmed from the movie Psycho. So in the shower scene, when the girl's getting stabbed by the psycho killer, like the old movie, the OG Psycho, there's that soundtrack that's very famous. It's like, nya, 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 nya. And it's like that, nya, na, na, na. It's like a really quick slide, like, kind of like that. So I was like, that would be sick if I could somehow turn that into a guitar solo and put it on this song. And so I got that idea while I was at work. And luckily I live nearby my work. And so I was able to drive home I typically drove home for my lunch period, but I drove home and immediately grabbed my guitar and was like, okay, start trying to work this out while I've got the time. And what I ended up coming up with was that thing right there. And I just thought that, I was like, yo, that's awesome. Like, that just sounds killer, And so, yeah, I didn't have enough time to really work it all out. But when I came back home later that day, I, immediately jumped on the computer and started working on that section. And I ended up building it out. So here's the full thing. So yeah, that ended up being the whole thing. I worked that out pretty much that day and recorded it. And actually what you hear on the full recording is the original recording from the demo, because I recorded the album the same way as I recorded the demo, and I thought I nailed it. And so it ended up being an awesome part. It's a really unique little sliding section. It's a lot of fun to play live, and it sounds great, Yeah, it's a great little section. And then last little tidbit on it actually is there's a harmony there that I recorded during the demo process as well. I have no clue what it is. I've never tried to play it. I think I wrote it, worked it out, did like 4 or 5 takes, and then left it. And you can hear it really faintly in the background in the second half of that solo when the toms come in. So here, listen. Right there. That because I think it's doing something like that, but I don't know what it was. But anyway, so that's just a little tidbit, having that harmony there. So anyway, that's the full solo. It's a really awesome, crazy, intense, shreddy solo. Right out the gate, it comes swinging, and then we have a little melodic section. And then we go into an even more intense shredding section, followed by a psycho killer stabbing guitar solo there to close it out with a evil choir in the background. So definitely a solo and a musical piece a musical composition that I'm proud of. And I hope you enjoyed this breakdown of it. I hope that, you know, y'all go and listen to it and get a kick out of it. So if you enjoyed this video, leave a like and subscribe, all that jazz. And I've actually got some guitar courses too, if you're interested. They're in the description below. Just check those out if you want to learn some Gen Z techniques, some modern techniques. But other than that, I hope you enjoyed the video. Peace out.